All right, welcome back to the More Than Different podcasts. Probably wondering where Cmac is if you're watching on the YouTube. If you're listening, you're not going to hear any of Cmac. He is out in Greece with visiting his girlfriend who's abroad. Shout out to Katie. So Cmac's living his best life, well-deserved break. He has been grinding on his job. He's been grinding on the brand. Kid deserves a break. So with that being said, we got a guest again. And the guest is none other than Mike Loughnane, a great friend of mine, MaxPreps and the Boston Globe MIAA Player of the Year. Not this past year, but the year prior. He's currently at Phillips Exeter doing a post-grad year and is a Davidson Wildcats commit. As you can see, I got my Davidson jersey on. What better day to wear my Davidson Steph Curry jersey than to have Mike Loughnane on the More Than Different podcast. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I love listening. I knew I wanted to be a guest at some point. Finally made it.
Yeah, we knew we wanted to make this happen, and I kind of see Cmac being out of commission this week. I said, I need a heavy hitter to hold the fort down to make up for Cmac's absence, and Mike, you're a heavy hitter, so it's good to have you on the pod. For reference, those who listened to our episode last week with Coach Giordano, Mike was my teammate for Middlesex Magic for 2 years. We played for Coach G and Coach Crotty of Middlesex Magic. Mike is one of the other players who has one of the best relationships with Coach Giordano, so we're staying in the circle, but we got a lot to touch on. So I'm excited, Mike. It is good to see you. How's the year been at prep school? So you graduate BC High last year. You know you're going to Davidson. You committed. When did you commit?
July 1st.
July 1st.
Right when July. Yeah.
So you're entering this new year. You're doing basically a prep, what's called a prep year. It's obviously super common in New England. It's kind of become the model, doing a fifth year, whether it's you repeat at some point in the middle of your high school career and transfer, or you do the postgrad. You did the postgrad. How has this year been for you?
Right. Yeah. It's been good. I knew I was going to PG in probably like April of last year. I kind of held out on it. Like you said, a lot of guys do 5 years in New England. You did the 5 years at Nobles.
Yeah.
A little differently than I did, but same idea. And so I knew I was going to do it early on. And I had two friends here who also Magic teammates of us, Dom and Josh. Shout out to Josh, who's committed. And so I had an idea of what it was going to be, and it's been great, honestly. Me and you have talked about this before, but prep school is a different world.
Oh my God.
You step into a completely different sphere of the world when you step into prep school.
You sure do.
Especially at a place like Nobles where you were, Phillips Exeter, where I am. Like it's a completely different environment than you're used to.
Oh my
God. So getting that experience before I go to college is, I think, a good thing.
Absolutely.
So much. And you can speak to the same thing. You learn a ton about people.
Oh my God. I think and I'm so glad I did the public school route for a few years, and you obviously did the full 4. You were BC High, so you were in an all boys school, so that's its own atmosphere.
Yeah, different.
So that's completely different. And then I went to Nobles, did 3 years there. I know obviously you're at Phillips Exeter, but yeah, immediately it hits you. It is noticeably and palpably different right when you arrive. I think the challenge, and it really circles, and I know you and we talked, I really struggled when I got here to Emerson too this fall, and you were really struggling at Phillips Exeter. We were talking on the phone, and I think the challenge is you become quick to assume a lot about people, especially at a school like that. It's like, okay, what are you doing here? The reality is a lot of people from those schools just come from a different upbringing, and their view of the world and how they've experienced it up to that point is different. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think early on it is very normal to assume a lot about people, but it circles back to big part of more than different, and seeing more in yourself and seeing more in others. I think as I went along in the my time at Nobles, and I think you can speak to this too, you start to see that people ain't as bad as you think they would be. And there's a lot of good people, and there's a lot of good in everyone. You just have to be willing to look for it. And here's the thing: if you look for the bad, you're gonna find it.
Yeah. You look for the good, you're gonna
You'll
find
find
some.
it. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing. I had to just look at it differently. Like you said early on, we both weren't exactly pleased with our situations. The
No.
schools were, we were had some things to complain about. We're getting to a new place. It was tough, but we were looking for the bad, really. If now that we can look back at it with the, you know, the review of it, we were really kind of looking for the bad. And
Oh,
when you
yeah. Zoom.
that mindset, it changes the whole thing. I now have made friends up here that I'm gonna be friends with forever. If you ask me in September if I do that, God no. I'll get to June and never talk to these kids again.
Right.
But you look for the good, you find it.
You do. You do. It really is an outlook thing. And I learned that fast being here, I guess a little bit slow, but with time you really start to say, okay, if I just shift my outlook and start looking for the bad and stop magnifying, or looking for the good and stop magnifying the bad, it makes all the world's difference. And the reality of wherever you go to college, wherever you go to high school, whether you transfer, whatever it is, no place is perfect. No
Yeah.
place is perfect. There are always going to be trade-offs and compromises to wherever you go. But if you hone in on the negatives, then that's going to warp your experience and it's going to negatively affect it. So I'm glad that you've settled in there. I know I've spoken about how by the end of my time at Nobles, I loved it, and for a lot of this year, I've missed it. And it's crazy to think about that, because when I first arrived at Nobles, it was like, oh God, who, like, I don't belong here, and just a whole
Yeah,
lot of
that's the
negatives.
feeling you have too. Like you don't, like we're from Quincy and Arlington, which are not bad places, but they're not exactly the typical Nobles and Exeter
Right.
reading ground. And so you feel like I don't belong. But if you meet the right people, they make you feel like you belong. You just
Yeah,
have to people.
the people
And
make the place.
exactly, 100%. And I think what I've noticed is this place has some of the best people that I've met, like really impressive, like athletes, students, actors, like the level of intelligence and talent here is off the charts. And it's cool to be around. And I wasn't looking for that early on.
Right.
Like I was like for like, would I be friends with these kids at BC High? Probably not. Okay. That's a completely different
So
environment.
what?
Everyone at BC High is just like me.
Right.
Here there's not as many people like me, but I got to meet some extraordinary people. So it's been great, like
Yeah.
adjusting.
No, you have to separate your past or other environments. You can't compare, because if you do that, it's like nothing is going to be the same.
Right.
This world is full of differences, and differences are great, and you got to embrace those and look for the good in them, because everyone has them. But if you're just looking for the carbon copy in terms of people or a place, you're not going to find it. And if you're not adaptable, you're going to be fucked in life. So let's steer towards Davidson College. So you had a whole lot of places you could have gone. You're getting recruited quite a bit. You committed right before July, which is kind of the hottest period for AAU basketball. So your recruitment theoretically could have still taken off, and it likely would have. But what drew you to Davidson?
Yeah, it's a couple things. I remember you told me this story where you were talking to, I don't know who, but you're saying like a place I could see him fit with a post grad year is Davidson.
Yeah,
And you had said that like a year ago,
yeah,
like fully before. And I think the fit was pretty clear to me too. Like play style wise, some motion offense, a lot of moving, cutting, guys who know how to play, really similar to the Magic. Like
yep,
the way we did, it's all cutting decisions, guys who know how to play. And then academically, it's great school. Like that was also key. Like I wasn't gonna, cut myself short academically to go to the highest basketball, whereas I was able to get the best of both, I think, in my mind. And like when we were talking a lot at that time, and I think I probably said to you, I said it to a bunch of people, like Davidson offered me on Monday, I'd commit on Tuesday. It was I kind of had made up my mind before they even offered me. Like that was a place where I really wanted to be. And so it was a super easy decision to commit even before July.
It's it has obviously a level of, I feel like everyone associates it with, and rightfully so, Steph. That is pretty surreal that like Steph Curry went there. And
Yeah.
obviously I got the jersey on right here. Um, but certainly an amazing school. It's pretty small, isn't it?
Yeah. Right around 2000.
Wow. Oh my God. Wow. So like
That's,
much, that's like half my school. Not
yeah.
even. Yeah. In my school feels small. Yeah, that's
No.
crazy. Wow, that's gonna be great. Yeah, so you go from, and I just went through this, and you always go through it with different teams you're a part of, is what I suppose individually, we'll focus individually here, is you have to redefine success. And so you had your senior year at BC High was probably the greatest MIAA season individually that anyone's ever seen. You went, what was the team? 25-0 you finished?
25-0.
25-0, state champion, all kinds of crazy numbers you put up. Obviously the engine of that whole team and the best player in the state, indisputably. Um, and now you go, you play with Magic, and you now have Phillips Exeter, obviously a different team, and now you're going to college, which is a different beast. And there's no doubt you're beyond ready for it. But to you, how in your mind are you adjusting your measurement of success? Because obviously scoring 25 and taking 8 threes isn't going to be what it is right away. No doubt it'll get to that point. But how, to you, have you started thinking about that as you're nearing your arrival?
Right. So my dad, when I was working out from freshman year on, would always say to me, "You got to work out trying to get to the level of a college player." The focus was always kind of driving towards getting to college and getting to the level I wanted to. So when I was playing, it was I was fully committed to team success. But in the back of your mind, I was always thinking like, I need to play well. I need to play
Right.
well in front of this coach so I can get this film to him so that he sees this. It's always kind of driving, even when we're at the live peers, it's all about playing well in front of coaches.
Yeah, 100%.
And when you play well, you help the team win. So obviously that's still the most important part, but there's an individual element that I think is bigger at that point, especially when you're in front of coaches trying to prove yourself.
Oh,
But I
absolutely.
think in college, I've now gotten to that point where I'm a college player. I know I'm a college player, and so I need to now just focus on the team. And it's now all about winning.
Love that.
And that doesn't now mean I'm not going to worry about my individual skills or getting better. I need to get better so I can help the team win. But when I'm on the court, it's just about the team. I'm not going to remember in 30 years if I had 25 points against
Yeah.
or whatever. I'm going to remember that we beat a certain team. We got a huge win. We got to the NCAA tournament. And it's it's not a complete change that winning's still the main thing,
Yeah,
but
no,
it's now
not
it
it
was the
is.
main thing before, it's the only thing now.
I love that. That's a very mature outlook, well beyond your years. And I know I've told you the story where my head coach at Emerson, Coach Curley, his head coach at BC, when he played at BC, Jim O'Brien, came and spoke to us this year, and he said just that. And I think I told you this, is like 20 years from now, when you're with your teammates and you have these bonds that last well beyond the playing years, when you guys look back and reflect, you don't remember oh, yo, you remember that game where you had 30? Oh, you had 25, but we didn't win. No, no, you say, oh, we remember when we got that big road win against, St. Bonaventures. Remember when we got that big road win against, for us, WPI, Babson? It's like, that's what you remember. And that's that team element. And the fact that you're already so bought in is impressive and is going to serve you well. I think what was really resonated with me and still does, and I try to apply it with our brand and what we do, and we talk about appreciate, celebrate, elevate, celebrate, celebrating the success of others. And when you do that, it naturally comes back to you. Coach Crotty, our AAU coach, always said that is want success for your teammates more
It's
than
bad.
yourself.
Right.
And to me, that's one of the myriad reasons why he's one of the best coaches in the country, and clearly no secret why you're one of his favorite players, because you're so bought into that.
Right. Yeah. That's why I think the Magic ran so well. We're not necessarily 5 high major players in the starting lineup and
No, no.
5 mid major players to high major players off the bench on any Magic team. And we're playing teams that are like that, and we just take them down because we're so bought into. Doesn't matter who makes the shot, doesn't matter who makes the big play, but it's the little things that lead up to it. And like you said, Coach Crowdy was so good at getting that message to us.
He
Be
was.
success for your teammates more than yourself.
And
And
it's
that
real. Yeah.
it so is. And you realize it once you're done. We're like, that's why we all get to the spots we want to get to.
Yeah.
Like if any of us on the team were all about ourselves, worrying about, oh, I played bad in front of this coach. No, we're happy because teammate A played well in front of the coach he wanted to play in front of.
Yeah,
And so it just helps everybody because
it
now you
does.
know down the line everybody's thinking that. They're helping you the same way. And he was so good at getting that message to us.
He was. You have those moments, those epiphanies where a few years down the line you even remember it and you're like, wow, that's profound. And that you almost don't realize how important that is, especially when you're on teams where that isn't the main thing, where guys aren't wanting success for others, or like it really just it liberates you too, like gets rid of all this envy or this concern about yourself, like in life too, well beyond basketball. I think that's what's so special about sports and playing basketball at a high level is it is like a microcosm of life in so many ways. And I think success for your teammates and getting rid of any envy or concern about what will happen for you, like you really do have to want success for those around you more than yourself, and naturally yours is going to come, and the celebration you get when people are happy for you, that feels so good. Others.
100%.
So I know I just mentioned a core value of MTD. We say appreciate, celebrate, elevate. What are the core values for you and your life and your approach, how you try to maximize yourself? Like what are different things that are in your head that allow you to uh, drive your actions and your decision making day to day?
Right. I think one of them is just compete. Like that's been a core value my entire life. It's just you have to be competing and just to compete in everything. And that doesn't mean, you know, putting other people down and trying to beat them necessarily, but it's trying to compete with yourself every day.
Yeah.
Like I made 70 out of 100 shots yesterday. I want to make 71 today. And it's just never just laying down, really. You know, on the last sprint, you know, you could go easy, not give it your all, but just like competing that last step. And in life generally, that ties into everything.
It does.
That's the one that I think is at the top for me. And you know, you can speak to it when you're in sports, you have to always be competing because you know
Yeah.
other people. Even in the off season, when you're not playing any games, you're competing against everyone you're going to play against the next year because you know they're working. You know
Yep.
you have to. So that for me would be top of the list. Just always be competing. That's a good question. Yeah. And then just, it's kind of cliche, but giving the response to others that you'd want for yourself when good things
Yeah,
happen. That's huge. I
huge.
mean, you play a bad game, but your boy gets an offer, celebrate him. Because you know what? If you got an offer and he played a bad game, you wouldn't want him to sulk.
Yeah.
So just kind of giving the energy that you want to get back.
Oh, it goes such a long way in everything. Like, your boy gets in, boy starts dating this girlfriend, this girl he's had a crush on for a while, and like you don't you want a girlfriend but you can't get one, and you're kind of butthurt about it. Like, dude, be happy for your boy. And then
Celebrate him.
like, yeah, celebrate the kid.
Right.
It goes such a long way. It really does. And it attracts more people to you, and support is a great thing to have. All right. We need to wipe away the response we got last week from our guest on this upcoming question. So I'm expecting something good out of you. I just want to make this abundantly clear. When I ask someone what their best habit is, quality is not a habit. Okay. Coach Giordano, who was incredible on last week's podcast, absolutely check it out. He said his best habit is his work ethic. Okay, what do you put your work ethic into? That would more so be a habit. So, and then he followed up with his worst habit is that he works too hard. So, um, God, I love him, but not the response I was looking for. But that's neither here nor there. Now, Mike, what are your best habits? And I want to hear, fire them off, and give me some of your worst habits.
Best habits. Sleep. My sleep habits are great. I go to bed at 11:30 and I wake up at 8:30 every single day. That's not a weekend. Friday, Saturday, I give myself some wiggle room.
Yeah,
But Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm on that schedule. And it helps so much. Like I feel so energized through the day that it helps me with everything else. So I'd say that's honestly at the top of the list, habits wise, just the sleep habits. And I'd say specific to basketball and just athletically trying to get better would be tracking. I tend to track pretty much everything I do. That's a habit
wow,
I've really
that's a great one.
tracking my shots, tracking weights in the weight room, times, anything like that. And that has helped me just, continue this way. It's not straight, it's bumpy, but you
Yeah,
see
but it's ascension. It's going up.
exactly. It allows you to see trends. And when I'm like, do I want to go to the gym today? Yeah, I've seen great improvement when I'm consistently in the gym. When I'm not, I see it flatline.
Right, right. It's
Yeah,
simple.
right.
Yeah, you got to be able to rely on your habits. I'm the same way. When I journaling has become an integral part of my day, and just kind of making sure my head's screwed on right, and my mind
Yeah.
is clear, and I kind of understand how I'm feeling. And when I miss a day, which seldom happens, but when it happens, I'm always like, I feel just discombobulated, and I can always kind of be like, well, yeah, I didn't do the thing that makes me feel in a good space, just clear mind and tranquil. So that's a good one. Any other ones?
Yeah. Planning my day. I plan my day, not hour by hour, but I plan my day pretty much to a T the night before. Like I
Wow.
know this free period, I know I'm going to go to the gym this free period. I know I'm going to lift at this time. I know I'm going to go back and shoot at this time. I have to do this then, homework here. It just allows me to fit so much into my day because there's no time that I'm wasting. And it's really just planning it out for me. It
Yeah.
changed. Like I had this free time before I was planning. It's not like I wouldn't have the motivation to go. It's just I didn't say to myself the night before, all right, I'm going then. And it just almost makes you accountable to that plan.
Yeah.
And when you don't do it, you feel bad
You
about it.
feel bad. Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
you go to bed, you're like, why did I skip that lift? Why didn't I do it?
Yeah.
You have it planned, you feel it when you don't do it.
I like that. You're your own accountability department.
Right.
And so, what are some bad ones?
Some bad ones. I have a crazy sweet tooth.
Yeah.
Just binge eating chocolate. That's my worst habit. Like bar none. Like Easter, I go all out. I
Yeah.
can't eat.
That's solvable.
Yeah. It's my worst habit by far. Like, you put a cake in front of me. Do you want a piece? Yeah, I want a
Yeah,
piece.
it's going down the gullet.
It's going down. I can't say no to that. Gotta be the
Um,
worst.
all right.
What about, give me your best habit, B-Mac.
My best habit. My best habit. Ooh, my best habit. I think my best one might be my journaling, honestly. I have a bunch that I would probably group in the same level of uh effectiveness for my day to day. I think journaling is a really helpful one. I've talked about it before, but it really has allowed me to not only feel more in control of myself and my emotions, but also, like you said, in a different kind of way, it tracks your progress. I have about 6 journals I've gone through in the last year, and I haven't gone back and read them yet. I think at some point I will when I'm ready, because some of the
Yeah.
stuff I don't really want to go back to, but it is a testament of growth, or maybe not growth, and maybe you're trending in the wrong direction. But for me, I can confidently say that I think since I've started journaling, I've been moving in the right direction in terms of figuring out who I am, and just feeling confident and certain about myself and the direction I'm going in. So I'd say that one. I play chess. I play at least 10 games of chess a day.
Really?
Yeah, yep. I'm on chess.com frequently. I do the Rubik's Cube at least 5 times a day. Keeps me sharp. Uh cold shower. Cold shower every day. It's a good one. I
I,
implemented that about a month ago. It's hard, but I'm finally to the point where I can just get right in there. I don't need to go hot to cold. I just you guys gotta get over those first, I don't know, 20 seconds maybe.
that's tough. I can't do that.
Yeah,
I've
you
tried.
can. You can. I promise you can. It's
You
uncomfortable as
say
hell.
you can't do your can't, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
I, I you're right.
Yeah. So, and then some bad habits. I think the biggest one I'm trying to shake is just my phone time, man. Like,
Yeah.
there's obviously things that the phone is good for. I like listening to music, or I have to be on social media to try to be active on the more than different stuff. But naturally, it turns into just scroll fest and a bunch of
Yeah.
bullshit and wasted time. And nothing is worse than getting that Sunday screen time notification, your weekly number, and you're just like, what the
Alert.
fuck was I doing? So
Alert.
I'm so conscious of it. I need to break it in terms of how I rely on falling asleep. I'm always on the phone kind of until the point of exhaustion, and then I just turn it off and go to bed. But I want to just be able to put it away at a time. Is that what you do when you go to bed at like 11:30? Are you just putting the phone down?
That's what the sleep schedules help me with. I
Wow. Yeah, that's really
cut
good.
and I try and put it far enough so that I don't see the notifications come through.
Yeah,
Because
wow.
notifications, like, oh, I'll check it one more time. And then you're scrolling on TikTok 5 minutes later. Like, you have to put it far away from
You
the bed.
do. Oh, yeah, it's a the phone is just a killer. Let's move in a different direction here. And I've talked about this with Colin. We've talked about it is when you're an athlete your whole life and you grow a pretty big following, you're very well known, especially in Massachusetts, but well beyond and soon to be countrywide, certainly at your school. And then, you'll get on the big stage and you'll perform. But does the label in the association with Mike Loughnane being, oh, he's a basketball player, or Division 1 basketball player. Do you like that? Or is there a part of you that says, people don't really know me. They just think I'm that.
I don't mind it, to be honest. Like, I love basketball. It's
Yeah.
my favorite thing to do in my time. And so if people can know me for doing something that I love, I think that's pretty good. There's worse things to be known for.
Yeah, that's a good, yeah, that's a great point right there.
Right. Is there more to me? Absolutely. But that's not something everyone needs to see. Like my
Yeah.
friends, you see it. The people I'm close with see it. And those are the only people I want to see it realistically. You don't want everyone to know your whole life. I don't think
No,
anyone does.
far from.
And so if people can know about me for what I think is one of the best parts of me, doing something that I love, I can live with it. And
Yeah.
certain people would be bothered by that. People don't know me. They just think I'm a basketball player. I'm okay with that because no one's going to really, who I don't know, dive into trying to find out what type of person I am. I'm just not that big a deal. You have to be
Yeah.
at the upper
Yeah.
echelon
Yeah.
for people
Yeah.
to dive in,
Right.
And so I'm okay with people knowing me for just that.
Yeah.
At least they know me at all for something good.
Yeah. I really like the part of this being known for doing something you love.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to.
That's what you want. You would rather be known for that. There are worse things to be known for. I
Yeah.
so that, I guess that question's more the outside perception. What
Yeah.
is your self perception? Do you really think of yourself as same way? I'm a basketball player. I'm an athlete, and then I have some other interests maybe, but like, or do you think of yourself in a more complex and multi-dimensional way?
Yeah. I definitely don't think of myself as just a basketball player. I think
Oh,
anyone who do
yeah, I know you don't.
gonna get burned out for sure. Like if that's all you think about all day, it's just hard to do consistently. But I think of myself as just a kid who likes to have fun with his friends, play basketball. You know, it's really simple to me. Like I just think of myself as someone who people like to talk to, who happens to be good at basketball and does that. I don't really like to think about my personal view of myself too much anyway. So I don't want to overthink it, and start trying to be someone I'm not. And it's easy to kind of just let it flow and not really think about that too much. How do you feel about that? Because you, from the outside perspective, are just a diverse person interest wise generally. Like, we have MTD, basketball. And so no one thinks of you as just a basketball kid. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I yeah, it's important to me. I think to be honest, you have to grow to realize, and I've grown to realize that like it's two things. One, you really got to not give too many fucks what people think on the outside,
100%.
because those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind. Secondly, you're for me, the more important part was just shifting my perception of myself and seeing more in who I could be and what I have to offer and how I can be the best version of myself, maximize who I am. For so long, it was the basketball player, and I transferred to Nobles. That felt like a basketball decision. And it
Yeah.
was like, I'm not ignorant to say, oh, I went there from like, no, if I didn't play basketball and want to play at the college level, I wouldn't have transferred out of Arlington. So yes,
Yeah.
but it felt like a basketball move, and going there helped me see more of myself. It forced me to see more of myself, quite frankly.
Right.
And I think as long as it's your own view, I think having a healthy and um, non-complacent view of yourself in terms of exploring what you might be interested in, trying to find more knowledge, learning more stuff, applying it to your life, always trying to learn, being curious, and a eagerness to learn in whatever it is you're doing. To me, became really important in myself, and naturally, it's given me uh, a greater view of who I am, so some added elements. But I know that people who don't know me, like I fit the part of just like, oh, he's just an athlete or probably full of himself, just a jock, whatever the
Right.
fuck they want to say. And And that doesn't really affect me anymore. You got to find the people that really matter and support you and want the best for you, want to see you elevate, and keep those people around and not really worry too much about the others.
Right. Yeah, you put it perfectly. Some of my best friends now have said to me, like, I thought you were going to be a dickhead
Yeah,
because they had
exactly.
seen the outside view of me as, this good basketball player. He's Division One. He looks cocky, posts videos of himself playing basketball. I must be a dick, but I'm just not thinking of that image when I'm interacting with them. I'm not
Right.
thinking about how will they perceive me, and I just come off as not a dickhead, as a guy they want to be friends with.
Precisely.
And so just not trying to be someone I'm not.
Bingo.
That's the key.
Yeah, be out. This is all. This rounds into like what more than difference being authentic. And when you look for this, is why I say that self perception of yourself. When you look for more in yourself, naturally, how you interact with people, you're gonna not be so quick to write people off. You'll see more in others, or be willing to see more in others. And if you don't you don't lie with people, you don't lie with people. Like you don't have to like everyone in this world, and there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. You don't have
You
to
won't.
want to be around everyone in this world. You don't have to accept everyone in this world, but you got to be willing to look for more in people and give people a chance. Until you give some a chance and are willing to let people be their authentic selves and not look at it with a judgmental view, then you don't really know someone.
Yeah. And pulling it back to the being at a new school thing, I cannot tell you the amount of kids here that early on in the year I was like, oh, I don't really like him. I don't think I like him. That I'm now very close friends with. I can think of like three in my head right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I hadn't finally realized I need to give these people a chance. I would still have this view of them where I don't think I'd like them, and I'd have one less friend. And so having that, ability to not judge before you really get to know someone is huge,
Huge.
especially when you plug yourself into new places. Like in this stage of our lives, we're being plugged into new situations all the time. If we're not able to have that view of people and give them a chance, I mean, you're just going to be stuck with the same thoughts, not going to grow. You're not going to
Yeah,
meet new people. And so having that adaptability is huge.
huge. The best ability is adaptability. I got one more question I want to ask, and then we can get into some quick hitters. But for you, what what does success look like to Mike Loughnane in 5 years? So you're, or we can say, no, let's say 4 years. So end of your college career in terms of where you're at and who you want to be 4 years from now. What does success look like? Now it could you define success for yourself. It's basketball, but maybe it's beyond.
One, just right out the gate, a degree, because that means that I didn't mess up in any serious way, that I wouldn't have finished. So just that to begin with,
What
just a
are you
degree.
studying?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
Economics. My brother did that. He's successful, did well, enjoyed it, and I have kind of an interest in that. So that'd be probably the leader in the clubhouse right now. But I'm not 100% sure yet. But beyond that, I just feel like to to have a fully successful college career, I want to play an NCAA tournament game.
Yeah, got to.
And you, there's nothing like it. When the recruitment process started, my dad told me, he said, go somewhere where you could play in an NCAA tournament, because he played at Northeastern for Jim Calhoun, actually, and he wasn't able to. And he said, I regret nothing more than not playing NCAA tournament. He wouldn't have changed anything. He loved his time, but he said he go somewhere where that's a possibility. And so I just feel like I need to play in one. And
Yeah,
so
got to.
it's like you think about it, when you were a freshman on that Thursday, you were in class sneaking March Madness live. You think
Yeah.
about it, millions of kids now doing that to watch
To
you if you're
watch
playing it.
you. Oh, I know. The whole world stops and it's like all
Right.
games are on. And like you
Oh,
to be the main thing, the
right.
center of
Like people,
attention for that moment. Oh,
right. And people will be tapping their friends like, "Oh, I know him playing in
yeah.
that game." Like that's special.
That's special. That's special. That's simply put special. I feel the same way. Like I want, and I don't do it for that reason, but to have those moments in your life where, yeah, people are saying, oh, I went to high school with him, or I was on his team back in the day, or, oh, wow, I didn't think he'd traject to be who he is. Like, oh, I want that bad.
It it's a special feeling.
Yeah.
There's no scale bigger than the tournament where you can get that. And if
Right.
you win a tournament, you pull an upset, you break a few people's bracket, that's special stuff.
Oh,
And so to feel fully, and that, like we talked about earlier, goes right hand in hand with winning. Because that's the only thing in college basketball. It's all about winning. Like winning keeps coaches in their jobs.
yeah.
It keeps programs successful. Frankly, it makes money for schools. It's all about winning. And so playing the tournament would be the end of a lot of work put into winning, showing that we won. You have to win a conference tournament. If you don't win the conference tournament, you have to win a lot of regular season games against some good teams. You have to do a lot
Yeah.
of winning to get there. And so that's top of the list. That's special, I think. And
Yeah.
it would be full circle with my college basketball career because right at the beginning of the recruitment process, when I got like my first phone call, I was like, look, this is starting. I'm telling you, remember this. So that would be such a full circle thing for me if I were able to do that. And luckily, I'm at a place where it's possible.
Yeah. Absolutely. Beyond
Awesome.
attainable.
Right. Expected, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, you got to expect it. You got 4 shots at it. I might expect more than one. Got to get Davidson back on the winning train. Um, I think one of the best things about basketball is, I mean, it's hard, it makes you uncomfortable. It can shoot your ego down, but it always humbles you. Always, no matter how good you think you are. You can go to the park and be like so much better than anyone, and you feel that and you got your chest pumped up,
Yeah.
and then you go play with a different crowd and you're like, whoa, wait a
I'm not what I
minute.
thought.
I'm not what I thought I was. So for you, and as you enter college, and I've felt this in so many ways, like through my high school career, guys start to emerge, they get better, bigger, play AAU, all of it. Is where does your confidence come from? I mean, how do you maintain it?
Yeah. It's easy answer. It's just preparation, honestly. Like
There you go.
when you miss a day of shooting, you're whether you really think about it or not, you're not as confident in your shot the next day.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm probably not going to hit as many shots as I would if I shot yesterday. And it really comes from that. And over time, the confidence comes from surpassing people who aren't working as hard. Like when you're in the 8th grade and you look around and there's these kids that are bigger than you, stronger than you, faster than you, better than you right now. You're like, oh shit, these guys are good. But then sophomore year, you're now better than them. And you can point directly to the work you were doing and
Oh,
say,
why? Yeah,
that brings confidence.
that does bring a whole lot.
That next group of people that's still better than me, by senior year, I do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna hunt them down.
Right. It's the same thing. Like I heard Kobe was telling, it was like the king of preparation.
Oh yeah.
He was telling a story. It was like, I looked at the top 100 in my high school class in a magazine and I circled the names of the people in my area. And when I got better than them or when I outplayed them, I crossed them off.
Wow.
And he said eventually he just crossed everyone off because obviously,
Because he's Kobe.
like, yeah. I mean, how can you not be confident when you know what you're doing to prepare is just clearly making you better than you were?
Yeah.
And so it just comes down to that. You just have to prepare correctly. And over time, you see that trajectory. It's hard to not be confident.
I agree. And for you, when you're hit with a setback or you get humbled or like, are you super, I know you're very routine oriented. Is that something you rely on, or are you constantly looking for different ways to maybe adjust your routine if that's what's going to help, take you to the next level, or whatever the case may be, continue to elevate yourself? Or are you at this point so confident in your routine and what it does, regardless of the highs and lows, that you always just lean on that?
I'm always looking for ways to adjust and get better. Because if I was doing the same thing now that I was doing in my sophomore year, I would not
Oh, yeah. Well,
elevate.
yeah, obviously. Yeah.
And so it's just always looking for ways to adjust. Like, I'll say this: my freshman year, I shot 38% from three, which wasn't bad. Like, I was a good shooter, but in prep, when I was working out, all spot shots. I wasn't moving. It was just catch, shoot, no movement involved. And then that summer, I realized, like, I need to start being able to shoot on the move, because next year I'm gonna have the ball in my hands more. I'm gonna be running off screens more, all this stuff. And so I just add in these movement things, adjusting my routine. And I'm now doing the same amount of spot shots as I am movement shots. And my percentage went up like 10%. I was like 48 that next year. And it's just little things like that I try and find in my routine where I know I'm not getting enough of this, or I'm doing too much of that. And finding those little things to adjust have been where I see the jumps. Like, you're making progress, you kind of flatline. Adjustment, really.
Adjust. Yeah, you got it. It goes back. Got to be able to adapt and adjust.
Absolutely. If you're not doing that, you're just not going to get better
Yeah,
at the
I
rate
agree.
that you'll just you'll be the same player. You'll be a slightly better version of the same player. But if you want to make those jumps, you need to make adjustments.
No doubt. All right, let's get into our final section here. We got a few questions I want to ask. Let's go quick hitters. The same kind of thing. We asked Coach G, quick hitter, who's going to win the NBA Finals. It turned into a 10
That was a
minute
10-minute conversation.
10-minute conversation, maybe rightfully so, but
that was good.
Yeah, it was good. But let's go right into who's coming out of the East, who's coming out of the West. You can give me a brief pitch on why.
East is the Bucks.
Wow.
I think Giannis is probably the best player in the world. Chris Middleton's coming back. Jrue Holiday just does everything you need to do. I think and they've done it before. They have all the confidence in the world, I'm sure. You win a championship, you can have that. They have a great guy, Pat Connaughton.
Our guy from Arlington, baby.
Magic guy, Arlington guy. So I think them for sure out of the East. And then out of the West, Steph, Warriors. I think all their guys are coming back. I think Wiggins will be back.
Yeah.
He's back. I mean, Steve Kerr's never not coached them to the finals when he's been in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's nuts. I just don't see them not getting there with fully loaded, fully healthy. And I have to rep my boy.
Your boy, yeah, that's literally your boy now. Yeah, I'm a big Steph fan. I got the Warriors coming out of the West as well. I got a finals rematch. I got the C's coming out of the East, but it's gonna be a war. I'm fired up. It's the best time of year. It's like there's a playoff game every day for the next 3 months or 2 months.
There's so many storylines, I feel like.
Yeah, so many. Oh my god. The
If
NBA is just so
second
great.
round, that'd be awesome.
That's
a great rivalry, but that's a great matchup
there. Yeah, I
that's
know.
Always you get who would the Suns play in the first round this year?
Suns Clippers. Yeah. Oh my god. There's a bunch of wars that are gonna be happening. It's gonna be basketball is just the greatest.
Nothing
better. Nothing at all. This will be a slight pitch for our own podcast, but what are a few things I know you've listened to a lot of our episodes. What are a few things you've taken with you?
That's good. One of them that we've talked about a lot already today is just recognizing the differences and appreciating the differences of other people. It's in the name more than different, obviously, but the message of what the brand is elevating yourself, seeing and appreciating differences in other people and in yourself.
And in yourself, absolutely.
Right. And using those to elevate and learn and get better. And I mean, that's clear in every podcast, I'd say. That's one of the threads that ties together the whole brand. And so that for sure. And then on top of that, I'd say the journaling. I've journaled more because of you.
Hey,
like,
Mike, there we go.
Mind. And I completely notice all of those benefits from it. If I were, those two have been something I've taken directly from more than different podcasts.
All right, that's good to hear. Good to hear. If I were to find you in a bookstore, what section would I find you in?
I don't want to copy Coach G, but it's a good answer. The self-help.
Yeah, it is a great answer. That's probably what I would say too. I got a million books right here that are all basically, but hey, you are kind of a history junk.
I am. No, you're absolutely right. And you know what? If I were in a bookstore, I'm probably in the history section. You're probably finding me reading the Dwight Eisenhower biography, honestly. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I love history. It's because the thing with history is you can see so many parallels to right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
You can predict the future if you know history.
Yeah.
And that's the most important subject they teach in school. I've always thought that. You're right. If you were to find me in a bookstore, I'm in the history section.
All right. That's a good one. Yeah. The more you know about history, it's necessary knowledge to have. And it is, you really start to draw parallels to now and then predict. You just see patterns. And I think that's what's so important about having some knowledge and erudition about what has transpired in the past and whatever it is, because otherwise you're just oblivious. No, you don't want to be oblivious. You got to always be feeding the mind information. That's one of the many reasons why you and I are so close. I think you're one of the people I talk to who I always can, when I'm talking to you, I feel like I'm learning more stuff, getting a different perspective. You have so much knowledge on so many things. So those are the kind of people you want around, or you need in your life. You need some of them at least.
You need people like that.
You do. I'm going to end the pod with, I'm going to ask you your favorite quote, but I already know what your favorite quote is. So I'm just going to go along and say the whole thing out because it'll leave people with something to really think about. And I feel the same way because this quote is special. We talk about the man in the arena, and I'll round it back out to your story. Is you're about to enter a new chapter, heading to Davidson, and I think what makes it so special, and I know, but you know more than anyone, is how much has gone into it, and all the work that goes into it, and people on the outside will never quite know all that goes into chasing a dream and attaining it. Yeah. And so it is only the man in the arena who knows what happens. So let's run through this one. This is your favorite quote, is it not, Mike?
Oh yeah.
Theodore Roosevelt. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who knows at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
So good.
So good, Mike.
You could pick out literally any line and write
Any
a page.
line. I'd say my favorite line. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming.
100%.
Takes courage, man. Takes courage.
That's a lot. You have to go through hard times to get to good times.
You do. Oh my God. Yeah. I know that.
Gets to those really good times. He's gone through hard times. And his face is marred with dust and sweat because you just got to keep pushing. And that section of it, that's what that means to me. That you just have to keep pushing. You get knocked down, you get back up. That's so good. My favorite piece would be, and if you could read it, just to remind me the exact words, it's what he knows at the best, what he knows at the worst.
Who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. People watching from the sideline, man.
Exactly. Like, even say, just using Davidson, if we lose in the A10 championship, right? Like, we're still better than 90% of teams in the world of basketball.
Yeah.
Like, you get to that high, like, at least you failed daring greatly. At least you can go to bed knowing you pushed it to the limit. And if it works out, that's great too, if you're pushing for those high achievements.
Yeah.
And that to me, that those few lines give me like chills. They just make me want to get out right now.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's about. Like, if you're gonna fail going for it.
Fail going for it, and don't worry about the people who were too scared to try.
Yeah, don't worry about the critic who never did anything.
Yeah,
because he's talking about you for a reason. He's talking about you because you did something.
Yeah, and he envies you for trying. And you'll be at peace. If you dare greatly, you'll be at peace. And peace to me is more important and more attainable than happiness. Happiness is such a fickle thing. But if you can feel peace in your life and your decisions, that's lasting.
Right. And we both know MTD is going to flourish and turn into what you
want. I hope so, Mike. I hope so.
But in the world where it doesn't, you're not going to wish that you listened to the people who told you to stop.
Yeah.
You're going to be at peace that you went for it. And you'd regret it more if you had listened to those people. Because then you wouldn't know. What if it did work out?
Yeah. You never know.
You got to give it a shot.
Yeah, you can't live in a world of regret, man. Nothing worse than regret. Well, Mike, incredible having you on. No doubt we'll be having you back on. We should book it right now. When you are, though you might be a little too popular at that point, but when you're
too popular.
Yeah, I'm only kidding. When you are at the NCAA tournament, and whether it be a year, 2 years, a few years down the line, you're leading up to the week, we'll get you back on the pod so we can interview you from the setting, and we'll have all the receipts of the goal that you set out to get. And that's one of the many reasons you are heading off to Davidson, and your ambition, like we say, more than different, and your desire to maximize who you are is going to serve you well, both there and well beyond, my brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Yeah, Mike, I always got you, and I appreciate you being a listener. One of the listeners we got on the pod, consistent, and that goes a long way. It makes want to do it more, and that's why we had to have you on. And I have no doubt this will get a whole lot of listens. So subscribe to the pod. As we're available on all platforms, and let's keep this thing rolling. Mike, thanks for coming on, like I said, and I will see you soon. Let's get a workout in When are you done with school? A month or so?
Yeah. More
All right.
work, please.
Oh yeah, more work, please. Shout out to Coach G.
Yes, sir.
And good stuff, Mike. Well, take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
All right,
Thanks for having me.
brother. Yes, sir.